This is Museum Days. We've had Museum Days since 1981. We invite the elementary schools of St. Bernard Parish and the metropolitan area to come here to learn about the cultural heritage of St. Bernard Parish. Canary Island Spaniards founded St. Bernard Parish in 1780. However, they came here and they learned to live with Native Americans, free people of color, enslaved Africans, other Western European colonists. While they retained their cultural and linguistic identity, nevertheless, their identity changed through its interaction with these various groups. I'm Bill Harland, and I'm your parish historian, and I'm the manager of this place that really runs me. So I welcome you to Los Islenos Museum Complex. We have 22 buildings, 22 acres, and now we're almost back to having 9 buildings again. Now this is our flagship building. It's Los Islenos Museum. Isleño means islander, and that's because the people who founded St. Bernard Parish came from Las Islas Canarias, the Canary Islands. They're 80 miles off the coast of Morocco in northern Africa. They're 200 miles from the Sahara Desert. And today, when you see names like Rodriguez, Gonzalez, Morales, Acevedo, Meneses, Nunez, those are some of the names of the Canary people who came to Louisiana to populate Louisiana, and they founded St. Bernard Parish in 1780. Now, this museum building is a reconstruction of the building that stood here before Katrina. Now, we're going to come inside, and you're going to meet Dr. John Rankin. Dr. Rankin is a professor of music at Loyola University, and he's going to play the Spanish guitar and also an instrument called the timple, which comes from Cuba and the Canary Islands. So let's come in, please.
All right, small, right? Thank you. Now this is the instrument from the Canary Islands. This was made in the Canary Islands. It was brought to me by one of our friends down here who went to the Canary Islands and brought it back for me. This is the one they have in the museum. This is not nearly as fancy, but actually I think it's really a good one. So you can see they're different. They have these vaulted, kind of curved backs. And they don't have any frets, the little parts underneath it up here. And so they're much simpler. They don't have as much range or pitch. So a lot of times it's used in ensembles where people are singing and playing with other instruments. So this instrument would be kind of like a rhythmic exciter, something to make a You see, wouldn't that be fun? Thank you.
My name's Don Mellerine. I'm a member of the Islenos Society, and I learned how to cook caldo from my mother. Caldo is a Spanish soup made with pickled pork meat and all the vegetables you see up here. I put my pickled pork meat in my pot with some water in it, and I boil it till my meat gets pretty soft. Then I add all my my vegetables. We have potatoes, we have sweet potatoes, we have beans, we have corn, we have cabbage, some string beans, some lima beans. When it gets closer to being finished, I taste it as I'm going along, and as the potatoes and things start getting soft, I'll add my cabbage and my string beans and my other green stuff because they don't take quite as long to cook. And then I start adding some Tony Sasseries in it to get it a little bit of spice to what I like. And then I let it cook, and then I eat it served over rice.
I'm going to give you a little history on decoy carving. You know, decoy carving is only pure American art form, folk art, and it's over 2,000 years old. Now, these are some decoys that were, they're actually reproductions of decoys that were found in a cave in Nevada that were done 2,000 years ago by Indians, Native Americans, you know. And back in those old days, back then, they would stretch they would make their decoys with skins. They would stretch them over wood. They would, and have the feathers on them. They would float them in water, and that was done until the Europeans came over. And when the Europeans came over, you had a lot of good carpenters and millwrights and all, and they started producing them out of wood, something similar to this. And they produced them out of wood for years and years up until around the 1950s. And around the 1950s, they started making them out of plastic. Down here in St. Bernard Parish, you had some of the finest Louisiana decoys they had. You know, you had the Campos and the Robins and the Perez's and all. They were some of the really old-time decoy carvers, and they carved decoys for themselves, and they also sold decoys to some of the people down here. But they were, you have some of the finest decoys produced down here in St. Bernard Parish.
My name is Sierra Lagarde, and I'm a member of the Bayou Lacombe Band of Choctaw. I am also a Lipan Apache, but for right now, I am just going to explain to you about the Choctaw tribe from this area. So we're going to focus mainly on beadwork and on basket weaving. So right here, we have the traditional style of the Choctaw collar necklace. You find these necklaces all along the southeastern tribes, like the different tribes of the Seminole and like the Muskogee Creeks in Alabama and Georgia. But you also find these type of collar necklaces even in New Mexico. You know, back then we didn't have all these borders that we do today. That didn't exist. So we traded with the Mayas, and we traded with the tribes of the southeast, and we even traded all the way up as far north as Cahokia, Illinois. That was a big trade network, you know, and you find examples of that not only in our beadwork, but in our pottery. Moving on to more traditional to more modern, this is what's known as modern powwow beadwork. In the Choctaw Nation in particular, we're known for in my tribe, we're known for our moon symbols. We're also known for our sun symbols and our diamondback rattlesnake symbols. So this right here is my bead set that I would wear at a powwow. And this right here particularly will go on your hair. But you see how it has the sun symbol? Mm-hmm. So even though it's made with modern material, unlike this pearl right here, this is made with very modern material, beads and such. I tried to stick with more traditional designs. And that's because, you know, when you go to a powwow, even though we're all wearing the same style of clothing, we'll wear like a fancy shawl, we'll wear like a jingle dress, but there's certain things that we like to add that differentiates ourselves from the other tribes. So if someone, like the Choctaw tribe, we're known for our 3 tiers. You know, if you see this, you could tell, oh, that person must be Choctaw. She must be a Choctaw Hoyo, you know, a Choctaw woman, you know. But if you would go, let's say, to another jingle dress dancer and she had, you know, designs like this, you would think, oh, well, she must be Dene or from the Southwest, somewhere along the Southwest. You know, so different tribes like to stick with their, you know, traditional designs, just so you could tell, you know, where each comes from, you know. So if you're ever at a powwow and you see these type of designs, you know, and you're more familiar with them, you can tell, oh, that person must be from the West. So, oh, that Native person must be from the Northeast, or, you know, with their floral designs, or from the Southeast or something. So that's just a little cool little fun fact.
to talk to y'all about alligators today, and when we're done, we'll answer all the questions you have, okay? These are all alligators, and they're all caught, trapped in this area. This is what alligators look like in the wild. This is their coloring. The rest of these skins have all been tanned, and in the tanning process, they do a dyeing also, which makes it different colors. And then what they do with the skins after that is they make products. You got handbags and purses and belts like this. And the reason they do different colors is because, you know, sometimes y'all all wear different color shirts too, you know, and different color stuff. Everybody likes something different. Alligators are very important to this area and to the Islenos people because they've been here for generations and generations. And over that time, people have trapped them and they're able to take the skins like this and sell them to help supply for their family, you know, make money so they can go buy groceries. They also take the meat and they eat it. So it's very important to the Islenos heritage and also to this area. Does anybody have any questions?